Kissland is the tragic story of The Weeknd, who succumbed to a tragic flaw leading to his downfall. Coming off the success of Trilogy, he is met with a rare opportunity and finds himself immersed in the newfound lifestyle of fame, attempting to disassociate himself from love and running away from true connection.
What Kissland is the story after Trilogy. It's pretty much the second chapter in my life. The narrative takes place after my first flight.
The Weeknd is no longer the super mysterious artist he once was. Now with successful mixtapes, popular club shows, and his face known by his fans, The Weeknd is growing, and he's growing fast. As with any developing artist, it is time for him to expand his horizons and grow his influence by performing outside of his hometown Toronto.
As he begins the tour and immerses himself in the lifestyle that comes with it, he gets exposed to numerous vices: drugs, alcohol, and women, just to name a few.
The story begins with one of his first experiences with a stripper. The stripper's ability to be numb and professional impresses The Weeknd. There's a sense that he believes he can learn from her to be successful in his own career. He asks her,
"How'd you drain all the soul from your heart?"
Through conversation, The Weeknd discovers qualities this woman portrays, like the numbness to attachment and the drive for money. The Weeknd portrays love and true connection as this idea that he has to outgrow it and he needs to move on from. He tries to convince himself of this reality by projecting his thoughts onto this woman.
'Cause it's just love, it always makes its way back around. It's dispensable.
Deep down, though, he is somewhat aware of his flaw, a desire for connection and a fear of loneliness, but he believes that these feelings will get in the way of reaching his goals. It is important to understand that The Weeknd is putting on a facade here. He tries to be inhuman to an extent, larger than life, bigger than the basic desires that impact all of us.
The hypnotizing repetition of the sample at the end of Professional can symbolize The Weeknd trying to enter a trance-like state, trying to rid himself of his current ways.
He knows that he has to be a professional himself, and that requires reflecting on his past mistakes.
I haven't been around the town in a long while.
When The Weeknd left his hometown to go on tour, he made a choice, and on the town, he is reflecting on it. After his experience with the stripper, he reminisces about a girl that he had relations with before the fame and before going on tour.
I remember on the bathroom floor before I went on tour.
This girl and The Weeknd were both young and making dumb decisions, like drinking, taking drugs, and partying. They developed a love for each other, and inevitably, The Weeknd wanted more from this relationship. However, being under the influence can create a false impression, and things did not work out like The Weeknd had hoped.
'Cause you had a thing with some other man. You said it was love.
This break of trust planted the seeds for The Weeknd developing a resentment for connection and love, which has stuck with him.
The Weeknd then switches from reflecting on the past to imagining the future of him back in his hometown of Toronto. He envisions meeting the girl who betrayed his trust, but The Weeknd is now a numb version of himself after the tour.
When the two cross paths, she seems surprised to see him. He tells her,
You never thought you'd ever see my face again.
there is a sinister intention behind this, as he knows he can take advantage of the love this girl used to have now that he is no longer shackled by love.
Unrestrained to touch, so we mutilize.
Without the thought of developing a connection and being betrayed again, The Weeknd is willing to use this girl because he likes what she used to do for him. The Weeknd then awakens in the present with the intention of distancing himself from his desires and needs of connection and love.
The Weeknd has now been on tour for some time now. He applied what he learned from the stripper and has begun changing into the person he wants to be. He wants to have a life of instant gratification with no chains to hold him down.
This lifestyle is testing him. The fight against his true desires is forcing him to embrace his madness. However, The Weeknd is subconsciously aware of how dangerous this lifestyle is, and he Freudian slips saying,
He left behind what he believed was a true connection, but no matter how hard he tried, The Weeknd knows that he needs love to feel whole. Regardless, The Weeknd dismisses these thoughts by embracing his madness and adapting.
By now, The Weeknd is fully immersed in the lifestyle that comes with fame, full of drugs and promiscuous women. Compared to other tracks, Love in the Sky is much brighter, which symbolizes that The Weeknd has become more happy and more numb the longer he has been on tour. The only time he feels any sort of connection is when drugs are involved. The Weeknd insists that women trust him and come into his disturbing world. He is okay manipulating the women he is with because he has seemingly moved past his desires for connection. However, like always, The Weeknd is wearing a mask and he subconsciously believes otherwise. The Weeknd is full of self-doubt, and no matter what he does, the lingering thought will still exist that this is not who he is. Because of these doubts, The Weeknd makes a mistake.
The Weeknd ends up falling for a woman while on tour. The Weeknd, with his money and power, is urged to save this woman from her lifestyle because he wants to have a genuine connection with her. For whatever reason, he sees this woman differently than the other women he's been with up to this point on tour. But it becomes clear to him that she doesn't feel love anymore, and she doesn't want to be saved from this lifestyle. She is a professional. He realizes his mistake before it is too late. He understands that this woman is just a temporary feeling. Accepting this reality, he immerses himself deeper into the lifestyle of fame to force himself to forget his true needs.
The Weeknd is now only focused on the benefits of the fame, the money, and the drugs. There is no time to think with this fast-paced lifestyle. There's only the next show, the next club, the next hit. The Weeknd has no care for the long term. He is focused on the here and now, enjoying the moment with the people around him.
Interestingly, while The Weeknd is speaking like he's new to this, which he is, Drake is talking like he's a veteran. And he is seen as the personification of bad influence and distraction for The Weeknd. This group blows through money like it's nothing to them, as they know they will just be able to make it all back at the next show. Of course, what is one way to blow a lot of money? The women that come with this lifestyle. And it seems The Weeknd has made it past his flaw
of developing and needing connections.
She just offered a strip tease, but she don't look like Demi Moore.
The Weeknd has developed such a high standard and been around so many women that they no longer face him. But not everything is as it seems.
The Weeknd fully grasps the women that surround him while on tour. He is now aware of his situation, applying what he learned from the stripper on Professional. The Weeknd is speaking directly to one of these women, and he tells her,
And tonight I'ma love you, and tomorrow you won't care.
It is also important to note that he has changed his view and application of the word love. Now, he sees it as a temporary feeling, one that only comes with sex and sin. The Weeknd is far from his view before going on tour, back on Adaptation, when love meant being the one.
he even sees those who are still looking for love in a negative lens by saying, he believes his old view of love actually never existed for anyone. The Weeknd is nearing his peak and is very much enjoying the lifestyle for the time being. And the dance-like instrumental on this song is symbolizing that. All that matters is the fun, the trance-like state, the presence. He has finally arrived.
The Weeknd has arrived at Kissland, the peak of tour life. The track opens with a roller coaster and women screaming, symbolizing he is at the top, a king. Like a king, he acts as if he is immune to the consequences of his own actions, which is somewhat true. He has the money, power, and influence to get what he wants when he wants. He only cares about the vices that give him instant gratification: alcohol, drugs, and sex.
Tryna sip it till the morning, and if you're still up, I'm tryna fuck you in the morning.
There is a distinct difference between the person that was hurt on the town and the person at Kissland. The Weeknd has transformed into the inhuman figure that he dreamed of on Professional.
You gotta pay with your body. Go ahead, girl, strip it down. Close your mouth. I just wanna hear your body talk.
He understands that he can abuse his influence and fame to get the dopamine hits he is looking for and drown in the moment. Once, the Weeknd fell for those that gave him something and made him feel wanted. Now, the Weeknd can make the women say,
Ooh, yeah.
switching from what happens on tour, the Weeknd explains how the tour life has changed him, but there is regret building, as if the life is catching up to him. The drugs and women are beginning to take a toll on him, but self-admittedly, he is addicted to all of it.
Probably not if I keep my habits up.
He mixes the drugs his doctor gives him with alcohol just to feel something more, and he even admits he had a rough week, and
I'm still dripping down from my nose.
he continues by sharing more of his experiences with drugs and women, but ends with a disturbing sentiment.
This ain't nothing to relate to.
Even with the lavish lifestyle and stories he talks about, he does not recommend it. As with any high, the come down is close. Throughout the second half, the beat sounds like cursed carnival music, something you'd hear in Amusement Mile in Gotham. The roller coaster in the first half is now falling down.
The Weeknd arrives home from tour and he receives a message. The girl from the town wants to see him again. The Weeknd recalls his vision of meeting with this girl, and now he can make it a reality. He feels he is immune to love and can use this girl to fill his needs without the pain and a thought of a heartbreak.
I try to master the art of that faraway love.
The Weeknd knows that this girl is unfamiliar with the money, the fame, and the influence. He can take advantage of this and treat her well, but he treats her the same as the woman on tour. But there's a problem. At home, there are no longer the distractions like there were on tour. The Weeknd no longer has the immediate bad influence around him. The endless supply of drugs, alcohol, friends, women, and he has succumbed to his flaw.
The Weeknd falls again for this girl once they meet up, reminded of their past and what he felt before he went on tour. But she has moved on, and the Weeknd feels the pain and betrayal once again. As much as he tried to run from his flaw, just like any relapse, it hits harder this time around. He fully realizes the consequences of going on tour. He lost the girl he loved and is now completely broken and lost. The Weeknd reflects on the tour life, all the parties, the shows, the flights, the women, the drugs, all the instant gratification, and comes to the realization. His need for true connection and fear of loneliness never left. It was just suppressed. And now he has no choice but to continue his life, a shell of what was, knowing that the instant gratification was never what he wanted.
I already felt love, and I let it end up dying by itself.
The Weeknd goes through grief, but finally accepts it's over, aware of the reality. He cannot give everything up to chase her. He has to continue on the path he is on, taking advantage of the opportunity he has been given. He must put back on the facade that he had earlier on when touring. Singing over this hypnotic and eerily empty beat, The Weeknd displays his life being full of experiences, but regardless, feels empty without the connection and love that he has always sought.
On his next tour, his shallow vices will not be able to fill and distract him now that he is aware of the void in his soul. The Weeknd thought he overcame his flaw, but he tested his luck.
Learned during tour, he truly believed he had outgrown his need for true connection. And when presented with the first real test, he failed, succumbed to his flaw, and was left stranded. We hope you all enjoyed our unique take on Kissland. Kissland is personally my favorite album, so doing a deep dive on it was a video that we needed to do eventually, so I'm happy we finally got around to it.
Throughout this entire video, we wanted to connect the story to visuals too.
Make it more of a movie-ish,
Yeah.
as much as a video essay on YouTube can be. But if you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We plan on doing more of these more creative, longer form type videos, so definitely stay tuned for that, and we'll see you in the next one.